Walker had previously been reprimanded by Bears HR for his workplace behavior, and a second such instance led to his firing.
Wait a second. On the day Lawrence isn't here, is this possibly the what do you think of this discussion?
Yeah. I think that there is based on some information that I'm gathering as well, there is a very good chance that this is one of these, hey, what do you think of this?
Terrible.
Well, I'd rather not see that in the workplace or be talked to like that in the workplace, and I'm going to report that, and now you're fired.
It sounds like we're going to get some answers to this swiftly.
I don't think so. I think
with the fact that we're already getting more information is a good thing. I'm not saying we're going to have all the answers, but workplace behavior, okay, that's leading you down the path you need to know. And frankly, if that's what needed to happen, then that's what needed to happen.
This is a hell of a culture you've got going here. So these are Eberflus. This is 2 Eberflus hires now that the team has had to launch because of their behavior in the workplace. Is who's in charge of vetting the assistant coaches for these jobs?
I mean, yeah, that would be my next question. Again, if the reason for doing what they did seems to be justified, I'm not against that because that would be worse, right? To keep somebody on staff if you know those things.
If somebody who's been doing this for 26 years doesn't just start doing this, doesn't just arrive at a job and be like, oh, now I'm going to behave this way. There is a way to find out that there's a responsibility to protect your workplace and to protect everybody in your workplace.
You're talking about the head coach, and I'm talking about just the reason to get rid of people if they thought that was the reason.
Once you find out, that's fine. And I'm not saying that the HR department was delinquent.
Right.
But what I'm saying is whoever is in charge of vetting, and that should be the head coach putting his staff together. Should be absolutely knowing who he's bringing in. And Alan Williams was one of his best friends. That guy had to go.
That's the one that I think still sticks with this thought, even though the two seemingly are separate. That's the thing that people are going to keep thinking about, is how you're trying to put a team together that doesn't have a defensive coordinator. And we still don't know what happened. And he haphazardly resigned.
He was forced to resign. He was told that he had to resign or he was going to be fired, and then he lied about why he resigned. He didn't resign to spend time because it was a health and family issue.
It was all haphazard.
That was a lie. And that horrible appearance on the score by his supposed lawyer. I can't talk anymore. I have to go to a hearing. No, you don't. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. No hearing starts at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. He's probably sitting in his underpants. You're not going to a hearing.
Are you describing Lionel Hutz right now?
I might as well be. Because this is the fact that that this head coach is still employed after all this, after having, think about the overall, he's compiled one of the worst records in Bears head coaching history.
There it is.
Ever. And he's bringing in creeps to be his assistants.
If he's still here.
He's still here. Well, yeah, that's how it works in the NFL. The head coach hires his staff. That's what you that's a perk of that's part of the job. You assemble your staff, you bring them in. These are your people who you trust for your culture. And he's still here. Powdered Toast Man is still going to stand up there on the podium at the lectern today. Powdered Toast Man! And that's beyond football. It's beyond football. And I know for a fact from people I trust that there were eyebrows raised about David Walker's behavior. I know it from people I trust that I've been trying to work on and figure out stuff and talk to people about. Did anybody see this coming? Yeah, there were people out there like, hey, this there's something up with this dude. And forget the whole football thing. Who are you bringing in here? Who are you bringing in? And why are people being mistreated? Why are people being creeped on? It is. This is Stonecutter says for 10 days, the Bears had a greater number of wins than workplace behavioral firings.
To me, that's if you don't want to look at the situation that's in front of us with why they had to fire another assistant. The fact that take the simple fact that they had to fire an assistant, your defensive coordinator for your defensive team resigned, and your defensive head coach has now had a team give up 25 or more points in 17 of 25 games. It's starting to add up against him. I don't think Montez Sweat can fix all of that.
No, I'm not sure Montez Sweat can fix any of it. But this, I guess I'm getting my head around the Montez Sweat thing a little bit, and I still don't like what they paid to get him. But they're building a team out of order.
Yep.
That's what it keeps feeling like to me, that there's presumptions of, well, we'll fix this, but then this breaks, and we'll fix this, and we'll have this, and then we'll go after it. This isn't in proper order.
I talked to Mike Lombardi about this I want to say it was about a month ago on Football Night in Chicago. I interviewed him because he has a new book out. And he talks about drafting players versus building teams. And that interview is still on YouTube on the NBC Sports Chicago page if you want to take a look. But gives the Lions as an example of building the team and how they did it. And we've talked about it a bunch on this show. Just how they drafted players based on the Lions first and their most important positions of need, and then did what they needed to do. But they also traded for a quarterback, so you could argue that they had that in place, similar to the Bears. And then they acquired assets when they needed to rebuild instead of giving them away. The second-round pick thing did give me a visceral reaction.
And it should.
I know that
the first one was a disaster.
I know there's a very strong chance that they franchise tag him. But I still think that there's an element of uncertainty attached to a pick like that where it's still going to be of a very high value based on your projected record.
Why is David Walker's stuff still on the Bears website?
Yo, I was just looking at that.
Is Pat Fitzgerald still on Northwestern?
Alan Williams was gone right away.
Immediately. They scrubbed that immediately. And that was a supposed resignation. Like, at least they, for whatever their contract needs were, they had to frame it as a resignation for whatever that was, even though it wasn't. Why is David Walker's info still on the Bears website?
Oh, yeah. There it is. NU Sports football roster.
Oh, Fitz is still up there? Yeah, running backs coach. Bears. David Walker enters his second season with the Bears in 2023. He has 26 years of coaching experience to his name, including 8 seasons in the NFL. Okay. Still there.
I mean, they did the important thing, and they announced it. It's not as great.
They didn't announce it.
Well, it's widely reported.
It is. And somebody found out. The Athletic broke the story. It was Adam Johns and Kevin Fishbane.
And multiple people have.
But they haven't announced it.
Yeah, that's true. But it's. Yeah.
I don't know. After Eberflus talks, are we going to see anything on their letterhead?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I guess this is. It's unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this. I don't remember this happening to one assistant coach, let alone 2 on the same staff in the same season for workplace behavior. And granted, NFL teams' HR departments historically have not been the strongest. Let's just say that. I mean, for everything we knew with, and especially when it comes to owner behavior, whether it was Daniel Snyder or Jerry Richardson and the stuff he was doing before they finally pushed him. That's actually the swiftest anybody's ever acted on this stuff was with Jerry Richardson. So, and now, of course, what is now the second blockbuster story about Bill Bidwell. And all, it was that Bill.
Michael.
Bill's dead. Michael Bidwell. Yeah, if Bill's doing it, then we got a big Halloween story. Coming back like Marley's ghost to creep on everybody.
What's the magic word? Halloween.
What do you say? Halloween. Good enough.
Sure.
Good enough. That works. So I guarantee you right now, somebody is desperately trying to prepare Matt Eberflus. He talks in a couple minutes, and somebody's saying, "Hey, you can say this, you can't say this. Whatever you do, don't say this." And this is one of those press conferences. This is one of those days where you can't let the team dictate. You got to keep asking the questions of everybody you can possibly find in that room, whether on the dais or not, whether if they're standing by the door, you go over to them and you ask them. Anybody who pokes their head in there, anybody you see in a hallway. This is a day, maybe you go down the hallway, they tell you you're not allowed to go. You want to take my credential, take it. But I got stuff I got to ask. This is one of those. If you're in there and this is watch the back door. Because there may be people above Eberflus who want to kind of lean into the back door, or after the press conference begins and all the microphones are pointed forward and everybody's leaning forward, you get some other people who may just this is when you make sure your head's on a swivel as a reporter.
I will say this too, though. There's a lot of fans asking the question, especially today, after we get the news about Josh McDaniels and what's going on in Vegas. Why can't the Bears do the same? And I think that perhaps that is the right attitude to have as a fan. Like when you do see accountability and what's happening and action taken against people who may have seemed untouchable at times, or you didn't know how they kept skating with their jobs, that is a fair question to ask. And I think that that's the right attitude to have.
Are they now ahead of the Bears? By doing that, have they now sent the message to any coaches? Because obviously you're going to have to blow out this whole staff too. And once you as an NFL team send that message, hey, there's openings here, then those phone calls are starting. Those conversations are beginning. Agents are talking, and you've got potential head coaches who put shadow staffs together. Make no mistake. When people interview for jobs, they've got a list of names who are saying, look, if you hire me, he's committed, she's committed.
Right.
We're coming in this as this group.